We all know you can visit SpongeBob at Universal Studios in Florida.
But what if in an alternate universe you could actually visit SpongeBob underwater?
We'll find out about that and more in this Journey into the Multiverse.
The bean holes, it's Eric and Nate, the bean holes, they're really pretty great, so shut up and listen to them talk. Eric and Nate.
That's right, there were plans for an underwater theme park in the Philippines.
Surprisingly enough, Nickelodeon was behind the idea of making an actual theme park. And I'm guessing because it was going to be on an island in the Philippines that not all of it would be underwater, but it seems like a good portion of it were to include a few restaurants and a few lounge areas up to 20 feet under the sea level. Now, of course, one of the biggest characters to promote this park would be SpongeBob, because you're not going to fly all the way to the Philippines and go underwater to hang out with Ren and Stimpy or the Rugrats. Yeah. It just makes sense. But the thought of it seems so crazy, but this was actually pretty recent. 2017 is when they first announced the plans and actually then took them back because there was a huge negativity flushed throughout this idea, because apparently in this island, it's one of the world's most famous marine ecosystems, which were to be a part of the visit. You would be underwater, maybe at a restaurant, and see this whole habitat living next to you. But there was a petition online which reached up to 260,000 signatures of people concerned about the environment around the area having to deal with a theme park, and they scrapped the plans.
Oh, okay. So was it locals or just worldwide?
It seems worldwide. It just seemed like an online petition. It doesn't mention, and this is right from the BBC too, so it's not anyone that we.
It's not one of those crappy American news sites.
No, the BBC is well respected. Yeah, but it doesn't mention any information as far as what the locals thought about this idea. I mean, they could have, for all we know, could have been for it.
Well, I'm sure if they were even at a point where construction could have begun in a year or something, then at least the local government was probably on board. But probably a good idea not to devastate the local ecology for a laughably dangerous idea.
And there are already some parts of theme parks where you can go underwater, and I believe that there are restaurants out there that have small underwater sections. The novelty of being underwater. It just, for a theme park, it doesn't work. Yeah. So I can't imagine that they would be running rides in these underwater
It's a roller coaster in an underwater dome.
In the tube. It's just... I cannot fathom how much of this park... a restaurant is one thing, lounging areas is another, even a hotel, partly underwater. I don't know if, as much as I would want to go, I don't think I would ever have the money to go to the Philippines to go to this imaginary SpongeBob theme park. But there is another multiverse out there where this thing exists and it is thriving to this day. So actually, no, because it wouldn't have opened until 2020. But
well,
could
maybe
be a multiverse.
There's an alternate universe where it opened already too.
Yes, absolutely. On top of,
didn't SpongeBob actually almost premiere a couple of years earlier, or wasn't it ready to go?
Yeah, the first episode was finished I think 2 or 3 years before it actually premiered.
So SpongeBob premieres in 1997. That means the theme park opened this year.
Boom, perfect. I want to live in that universe. Except for that the theme song for that original pilot was completely different and not the obnoxiously amazing tune that we have.
Obnoxiously amazing.
That's the best way to describe that. Come on.
I would say amazingly obnoxious.
I can live with that. Anyway, on top of scrapped SpongeBob plans, the third SpongeBob movie comes out next year. It's called The SpongeBob Movie. It's a Wonderful Sponge.
Not of course, SpongeBob 3D?
No. They're not doing the 3D route. Obviously, by the title, you can probably tell it's going to take a huge influence from the classic movie It's a Wonderful Life. Everybody has seen that, as far as I know. I only live in a
I've
world
never
where
seen
every...
it.
Well, I don't believe that. You're lying.
I've never seen it.
You're lying.
I've seen pieces of it, but I've never watched that movie.
like sat down and watched it in full.
I don't watch classics that only became classics because they were like in a garbage can and allowed a TV station to run it without having to pay anybody money. But you go ahead.
I wish that was my life. I wish I could have something like that. So
your life is in the garbage can.
Yeah, here I am. The movie was intended to come out actually this week, surprisingly, but got pushed back to 2020 and then got brought up a whole month, which is weird how they schedule those things. They're like, it's coming out in June. Kidding, it's coming out in May.
Well, all right. Wait a minute. You said it was moved to next year.
It was moved to June originally.
Of this year or next year?
Original plan was for it to come out in February 2019.
Okay.
Then they pushed it to June of 2020, and then pushed it up to May of 2020.
Okay.
So that's the plan. One of the reasons for this was that almost the entire movie got scrapped. And you can actually online go to YouTube and look up...
That's the only way to go to YouTube.
It's to go online. You're right. We have a storyboard artist, Wolf Rudiger Bloss.
All right.
I swear that's his name.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
Whoa. Wolf Rudiger. Like it's a hyphenated name.
Yeah.
All right. Wolf
They
Rudiger.
could have decided. Wolf Rudiger. He actually uploaded 4 storylines that were apparently the first pass at the story of the third SpongeBob movie. And it includes SpongeBob and the other characters on land, once again, as they were seen in the second movie, possibly in 3D animation, and fighting a group of interstellar cats.
As
Alien
one does.
cats in spaceships coming down, attacking. SpongeBob and Patrick actually team up with a boy and girl and help fend off the invaders. It's just a completely insane idea. I think it would work.
That's as crazy as having a sponge from your kitchen flipping burgers and living in a pineapple under the sea.
Having a squirrel too live under the sea. I think they could make it work. You haven't seen the second SpongeBob movie.
I have proudly not seen either of the SpongeBob movies.
Oh, the first one's good. The first one is one of my top 3 favorite comedy movies.
Which one had a much larger than life-size David Hasselhoff?
The first one.
All right.
I generally think that you would like the first movie.
I wouldn't be surprised if I liked it, but I would very much like to own the 200%, 400% scale David Hasselhoff upper body. That would be hilarious.
They actually put that up for bidding a few years back, and I'm so disappointed I could not bid on it. And I didn't even think about where I would put that thing, but just I would rent out a storage unit for my giant David Hasselhoff, knowing I have that thing. Anyway, in the second movie, they actually meet up with not really intergalactic, but interdimensional being named Bubbles the Dolphin.
Okay.
He's what makes them look three-dimensional in the second movie. So there was something...
Is he from the third dimension?
No, he's like in charge of all the dimensions.
That's weird. Okay.
Yeah, a dolphin.
I'm in charge of height and width.
I think he would have been involved with this somehow to get them back into the real world, three dimensions. But I would recommend any person interested in SpongeBob, interested in actual animation too, to go and look at these storyboards because they're very interesting to see. Even if it's something that never sees the light of day, it's interesting to watch what could have been and just where their ideas were.
Maybe is in an alternate
universe. So the other thing we're talking about is the fact that there is a ongoing theory. It's been a theory online for decades now that the main characters of SpongeBob SquarePants are based off of the 7 deadly sins.
Okay.
So I asked you to pull up the 7 deadly sins.
You betcha.
And I wanted you to go through and let's see if you can guess what each one is. So the first sin there Now in the Bible where these are mentioned, right? They're just mentioned as like these are the worst things you could be.
Sure.
Okay. I'm not sure about that.
I do know. Let's not get into it. I am actually referencing, partly to get things out of order and shaken up in my head, I am referencing an image I found on Google that is listing social networks as 7 deadly sins, where lust is Tinder, gluttony is Yelp, greed is LinkedIn, sloth is Netflix. That's not a social network. Wrath is Twitter, pride is Instagram, and envy is Facebook.
I mean, a few of those make sense.
Yeah. If you're going to say it's all social networks, then call sloth YouTube. But anyway.
That makes more sense, yeah. Netflix you can't really be social on, so.
Yeah. So, I don't know, are people like browsing the Netflix site and seeing who liked and disliked things? I don't think so.
Probably less
not
than
even possible.
5.
No, I don't think it's even possible.
Probably one guy out there who does that.
Well, yeah. I was going to name the CEO of Netflix, but I can't think of who it is. So.
Not Jeff Bezos.
Okay, so let me think. All right, so I couldn't even name the 7. Let me try that. That's
okay.
A more appropriate challenge to name the 7 main characters. SpongeBob.
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
Sandy.
Yes.
Mr. Krabs.
Yep.
Squidward.
Yep.
Plankton.
Yep. The 7th is a little. You definitely know this character, but I guess they don't speak. But it is Gary, SpongeBob's pet snail.
Okay. All right.
I'm actually really surprised he did that. I'm proud of him.
Okay, so greed, I'd say, is Mr. Krabs.
100% correct. Which is very obvious. It's marked by an excessive love for money and material things. Mr. Krabs is obsessed. Even lost his arms for a dime.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, I'm going to go envy is Plankton.
Once again, correct. And Plankton, whose main motivation in the entire show is stealing the Krusty Krab Krabby Patty secret formula, and is 100% envious of Mr. Krabs' success.
Yeah. So I already don't agree with this, but I think the only thing that applies is Squidward is Wrath.
That is correct. Wrath is marked by uncontrollable hatred toward the world in general. It is a little bit weird because Squidward really doesn't have a lot of wrath without being provoked. Usually there are many episodes that open up with Squidward in his house, in his bathtub, playing music, doing art, where he's in peace, he's enjoying himself, and all of a sudden he's hearing the laughter of SpongeBob and Patrick and then becomes completely angry. But he's like Yosemite Sam. He goes from like 0 to 100 instantly without...
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to say pride is SpongeBob.
No.
All right.
You are wrong. Do you want me to tell you which one is pride?
No.
Okay.
Not yet. Okay, SpongeBob is gluttony?
Wrong again.
Lust?
SpongeBob is considered connected with lust. Now, it's usually seen as excessive sexual desire. However, defined by Aristotle, lust represents any kind of excessive love for others. SpongeBob is the only character in the show who just completely loves anybody, and even when Plankton is first introduced, is shown that the entire town basically hates this character, and SpongeBob just wants to befriend him, make him enjoy what fun is, and show him love and everything. So he's been connected with lust.
Okay, I'm going to pretty strongly disagree with.
It is.
With
I didn't say some of these
of
were
all,
not a reach, but
okay, so is Patrick sloth?
100%. Sloth is described as excessive laziness. Patrick is 100% not only the laziest character on the show, but in one episode, he is obsessed with winning all the kind of awards that SpongeBob wins and ends up winning the award as the laziest person in town.
All right.
So that's Sloth.
Okay. So is Pride Sandy?
Pride is Sandy. She is very proud of not only her scientific skills, but everything that she represents from Texas. She brings Texas with her to the underwater world. She is absolutely proud of where she's from and what she can do.
So gluttony is Gary.
Gary, one of his signature traits is the amount of food that he consumes. So, now, this is not 100%. There have been people...
Oh, it's 100% bullshit.
There have been people who have argued for certain other characters to switch roles, or other characters that may not be... Pearl at one point was seen as I believe Lust, because in the original drawings we showed in the first episode, Pearl was always intended to be a part of the show.
Yep.
So she was kind of plugged in as one, but that's kind of the list that everybody online seems to at least mostly agree with.
Yeah.
But it's really not that hard to recognize that some of these characters in their basic state is like, this character is just really lazy, this character is kind of mean, this character is really nice, this character eats a lot. Those have been the 7 deadly sins, but the idea that the show is based upon that, I don't really buy into that. I don't think Steven Hillenburg was like, 7 deadly sins, let me create the characters. It's just...
I would be interested later to see where you pulled up how Aristotle defines lust, because first of all, I'm not real big on ancient Greeks defining English words for me, but also looking back at the Bible itself, the term that was used translates directly to desire. So generally wanting things, so it doesn't have to be sexual, but just, I really want things. I want, which kind of gives it some overlap between greed and envy.
Yeah, I was trying to think maybe Plankton could be lust for his lust of the formula. Well, then what's envy?
Yeah. So, but anyway, I just absolutely disagree with SpongeBob.
Some of these are spot on.
Yeah.
Patrick is sloth and Mr. Krabs is greed. You can't argue that. Those are the characters. That's what makes them.
Has Patrick ever been shown to be more intelligent than he appears, so that maybe he's lazy of mind and not actually just dim-witted?
When the show first began, and in the first 3 seasons, the characters weren't as defined as with those characteristics. Mm-hmm. Patrick, in the first few episodes, which you'll see, was shown to be a little dim-witted, but actually SpongeBob went to him for advice. As the show went on, especially after Steven Hillenburg left from the first SpongeBob movie, the characters just kind of got sucked into these holes of like, this is all you are, this is all you're going to do. Patrick at some point just became just dumb.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was a point in time at the beginning where he wasn't as dumb as he's portrayed now in newer episodes. So,
all right.
Well,
I hope you enjoyed this journey into the multiverse, and I hope you'll join us next week when what are we doing next week? Oh,
we'll find out what's in the box.
Yeah, we'll be pulling out whatever topics we wanted to explore more related to SpongeBob. We'll be finding out what's in the box.
What's in the yellow box? Even though it's purple. Shh. Keep on beaning.
The Bean Holes.
Look it up.